DW AfricaLink.
How do people who once saw each other as perfect decide to go their separate ways, sometimes painfully? Nearly 70% of divorce cases end bitterly, with custody battles, property disputes, and painful accusations sometimes. In Zimbabwe, divorce rates have risen by almost 30%. What is happening to marriages, and what does it mean for the future of this institution?
The economic situation in the country, has taught people that family is no longer the same as it was before. Yeah, marriages, they are not a standalone institution.
A lesson I've given myself is I must always be submissive to my husband. When I do something wrong, I say sorry. Or sometimes I don't even do anything wrong.
Marriage is hard. And I think that a lot of us get into it without getting the proper preparation. So as a clinical psychologist, you realize that, everybody comes with their own programming. And when we meet in love, we are attracted to each other. And that attraction is based on our programming and where we've come from.
A lot of people that are getting married are not going through fundamentals, which is premarital counseling and coaching. Because when you analyze circumstances to which people get divorced, those are issues that could have been dealt with at premarital counseling.
Stay tuned for this and more coming up shortly. I am Adwoa Domena, and you're welcome to AfricaLink, the podcast that connects you to the stories that matter.
AfricaLink, every weekday here on DW.
My mother once told me that a good marriage is not one without fight or disagreement. In actual fact, she said it is one in which you have reasons to choose the person, your partner, over and over again, despite their shortcomings. And that has stuck with me. But recently, many marriages are finding more reasons to leave than to stay. And Zimbabwe is an example, as the country has recorded a 27% jump in divorce cases between 2024 and 2025. Several factors have been assigned to why people are divorcing, ranging from social media influence, access to information among women, economic challenges, and migration. Are these reasons enough to make a person say, look, I no longer want you, or I am leaving? What is really causing the spike in divorce cases? To join us unpack this, Reverend Dr. Isaac Soda joins me. He is a marriage officer and a counselor. I also have DW's privileged Musvanhiri joining us from Harare. Gentlemen, welcome. Dr. Soda, let me begin with you. From where you sit as both a reverend minister and a counselor, what exactly do you think is happening to marriages?
Thank you very much for the question. And let me start off by saying it is alarming when you look at it statistically to see what is going on in our society. Surely something is not right for there to be such high percentages of an increase within 1 year, with an increase of 27% of cases that are recorded for people who are seeking divorce. I would like to think that there are several reasons why this is happening. I think those that are mentioned regularly, like those that have to do with people looking for work outside the country and maybe leaving their spouses as they go to seek for greener pastures. That's a major contributory factor in that there is an increase of interest in people to go outside and work and support their families. But it is so disheartening that in the process, they're destroying the families that they are seeking to work for. So I believe that that is part of the contributing factor. I also think that people are marrying young. They are marrying whilst they are not quite prepared, whilst they may not have had enough teaching and preparation and counseling towards marriage. So much so that the things that they meet in marriage, they are not prepared for. So I think society must strive to make sure that the children who are getting, the young people who are getting into marriage understand what it means, and they know how to mitigate the effects of conflict within marriage that we seem to see coming up time and again.
When you say people may be getting into marriage too young, is it young in terms of age? Because I've heard people make the argument that there are old people who may not be matured, and there are younger people who may be matured and may be acting older than their age. What kind of maturity do you need to get into marriage?
I think it's both age, young in terms of age, but you are right that there are people who can mature when they are young and people who never mature even when they are old. But there are things that you will not quite understand when you are young, even if you are intelligent. You only have to get through the experience of marriage to know what it is like to be in marriage. So it's partly age, it's partly just unpreparedness for whatever reasons, because when you are not ready and prepared, you'll be surprised how you will respond when crisis happens, even when you are young or old in marriage.
Thank you so much, Rev. Privilege, when this statistics was made public, what was the reason, especially because you have been speaking to a lot of Zimbabweans, what has been the reason people have attached to the increasing rate of divorce?
Thanks, Adwoa. I think there are multiple reasons. You find that chief among them is the issue of migration. And at the core as well is the issue of livelihoods. The financial aspect, the economic aspect is what has been harped by a lot of people, because what is pushing people to migrate is because of the economy. And even back home, the divorces that are happening within the country, some of them are as a result of economic reasons. If you look at the economy of Zimbabwe, it has been a struggle for many. And for those that are not able to endure when they get into marriage and they are not prepared in terms of what they are meeting economically, that's when now you start having these problems, the financial issues coming up. But some of the reasons as well have to do with issues of the advent of social media that you have mentioned. Yes, of course, it has enabled people to communicate and like. Some are bringing up reasons that, look, there were times when people would engage in infidelity, but it was not easy to be discovered. But these days, because of phones that we now have in our pockets, the platforms that we are using, some couples are discovering very early and making, their investigations through different platforms to see, my husband is seeing so and so, my wife is seeing so and so, because of the technology. The technology also enabled people to discover early where previously maybe someone would engage, even have a family elsewhere that would not be discovered even for years. But now it's easier to do that. Then there's the aspect of those that have gone to the diaspora. What is being said is that couples that have migrated to other countries, the issue of culture has also come in. When we come to the African culture, you find that a man may not be expected to do certain gender roles. But when they get to the Western world, the gender roles are not divided. We are expected to perform the same roles. So that's the some of the issues that are happening. So some men feel challenged when they go to the Western world to find their wife, to say, the wife is saying, can you take care of the baby? He cannot fathom the fact that he has to change diapers. He has to remain at home at some point with the kids. He was used to be going to the bar and, socializing with his friends, or just go to a soccer game. But now, when you are there, the wife has to work, you also have to work, so you have to share responsibilities. So some of the things, there are high divorce cases that are coming from Zimbabweans that have also migrated to different countries abroad.
Which gender is divorcing more? Is it the women? Is it the men? Have the court shared these statistics with you?
Interestingly, it's actually women who are divorcing more when it comes to the aspect of those that have gone into the diaspora. Because look, when they were here, they could have been societal norms that would maybe say oppress them per se, but then maybe when you come to the cultural aspect of the African tradition, it may not be taken as oppression. They are enlightened when they get there. Some of them, when they get there, they are earning more than their spouses. So it is now the case where the woman, when she gets there, she says to herself, "But I can do it alone. I don't need this man." So those are some of the cases that have been coming. In fact, recently in the local media, there was an article which was published about African men finding it difficult to survive with their spouses in the Western world, especially those that are coming from our country. I know of a few cases of people who have gone separate ways, and right now some who are in the process of separating because of some of these issues.
Rev, do you think really that women are divorcing more than men?
I'm afraid to go against the statistics if they are there, but I think women will be the ones to pronounce it, but maybe it may have started with the men themselves. In many cases, it is the men, maybe I'm making a big claim here, but it is the men who would have gone away from the family many times, or who would have failed the women in many times. And from my counseling with people who have marriage problems, women can enjoy a lot of things. Ladies are just prepared and cultured in such a way that they enjoy a lot of things. Men, they have a very short fuse. Within a short time, they are thinking divorce. But they may not pronounce it. They start off by mistreating the woman, so that the woman herself will be the one to initiate the divorce. But many times it is the men who may have started it in the beginning.
What do you think are some of the biggest threats to marriages in this current era that we are in?
Faithfulness and unfaithfulness as one, and a major one. Finances. I think people just don't know how to handle finances in marriage. They have no systems in place, so money becomes an issue of debate over and over again. So yeah, that's a major one. Finance is a major one. Culture is another one, because when a thing has become a norm within culture that people can divorce whenever they want to, you then tend to see people do it more and more because it has become acceptable within that culture. So maybe those are the three that I can think of now.
Privilege, when you speak to people, is there a sense that people are afraid to get into marriage because of the high divorce rates?
Interestingly not. You look at even the statistics that was issued out by the Judiciary Service Commission in Zimbabwe on these marriages. marriages are actually higher. In the year 2025 itself, there were almost 12,000 solemnized marriages, and against almost 4,000 divorces. Speaking to young people, and interestingly, one young lady that I spoke to, she said, this is not a deterrence at all. We are actually wanting to get into marriage and discover for ourselves. And the other thing is that the thing that we go through when we in courtship, the little gifts, the love that they, they feel, and the feeling that they get that someone, I'm in love with someone, and I'm looking forward to getting married.
From our perspective, in the people, especially the young ladies and gents that haven't been married, to be honest, the way it is put out there, marriage itself, the event, the dating phase, and it's something too good to not want to experience it. In as much as there's a high divorce rate, or we cannot rule out the institute just because it has got a high failure rate. We want to see it for ourselves, and we want to see ourselves through it till we get to, if it gets to a divorce. But it's not discouraging. If I'm to be personally speaking, it's not discouraging.
That's the interesting bit, that yes, we have these high divorce cases, but young people are not deterred. Those that want to get married are not deterred at all. They actually want to discover for themselves. They want to get into the institution and experience it.
That's quite interesting and positive news for the institution of marriage, is it not, Rev?
Most definitely. And I affirm the same, because I do have an increase on my personal desk as far as we're young people wanting to get married. And it's been a good thing to see that there are still many young people who really want to get into the institute of marriage. But there's a description that I heard recently of someone saying a marriage is like a butcher's window. You have flies on the inside of the butcher's window wanting to get out, but you have flies on the outside of the butcher's window that are trying to get in. So there's that dilemma and tension that's there of those who want to get out and those who want to get into the marriage institute.
So if you are convincing somebody about why marriage is necessary, what would you tell the person?
First of all, marriage was instituted by God because God saw it as a necessity within society that two people get together and live with one another in the fear of God. And once people enter into marriage with and living within God's principles and expectations, marriage is going to be heaven on earth. So yes, I would encourage any young person who is thinking about marriage to get into marriage, but let there be guided by the scriptures, by the word of God. And when that happens, then marriage becomes what God intended for in the first place. So it's not a human institution. It's not a societal institution. It is a divine institution. Hence, if people get into it with divine intentions and divine guidance, then they are bound to have a successful marriage.
Do you think some people get into the marriage with wrong understanding?
Oh yeah, definitely. Wrong understanding and even wrong intentions. Some people are lonely, so they just want to kill their loneliness by bringing somebody into their life. But marriage is more than just companionship. There is a greater dimension to it. Some people are seeking for economic stability. They are looking for somebody with enough money to take care of themselves and others, so they enter into marriage for the wrong reason. Or just some people just find themselves into it without much thought at all. So yeah, there are people who get into marriage for with wrong intentions and wrong motivations, and hence it doesn't work for them.
Have you been able to successfully convince a couple that perhaps may be wanting to divorce to, change their minds? And what was it that you told them?
Yes, I've done that a few times, helping a couple that's about to break up or to divorce. And I highlight issues like if there are children in the marriage, how this is going to dent those children permanently, in spite of what other things they may have in life, but children are affected adversely. And then I've also talked about remarriages. I've seen that there are people who, when they divorce, they think it's the end of the world, but with the passage of time, they begin to appreciate what it is that they lost, and they come back and remarry. And I say, look, there is a big possibility that you may divorce today, but tomorrow you come out seeking the same person and you want to be with them. And also the fact that once you start off with one person, your life will never be the same. And if you start off with another one, your life won't be quite the same. So those are the kinds of things that I would say to people who may be contemplating divorce.
And it works?
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
In what instances do they not work?
Well, sometimes when the cause for divorce is protracted for a long time, like if there is infidelity that's been there for a long time and maybe it's repeated, and faith is lost, hope is lost, those situations are difficult to reconcile if it's been over a long period of time. So yeah, that's one that I would cite.
I have seen somebody of great influence on social media say that, look, counseling before marriage is not even necessary anymore. You find somebody, you want to marry, get married, and then in the marriage, rather, you do the counseling. Rev, you are a counselor, so I'm sure you may have something small to say about this.
Sure. I used to have premarital counseling and then post-marital counseling. I still do premarital counseling, but I no longer do post-marital counseling just because of time. When people get married, they're starting off their lives together and they seem not to have as much time. But there is value in post-marital counseling, where the guidance that's needed for this new couple is continuous. And I think that's where the church comes into play. And admittedly, I would like to say the church has not done enough to deliberately guide the young people who are getting into marriage to make sure that they understand where they are supposed to be going and doing in their marriage. But yeah, post-counseling is of essence.
In the last 30 seconds, give us advice. I mean, I'm sure Privilege would need some advice from you, and because the years you may have spent in marriage is more than his. So please give us advice to people who are married, young people who are yet to marry, and then people who have done marriage for a while and then want to divorce.
Yeah, marriage is such a beautiful thing. It's a necessity in society. So for people who are not yet married, I would encourage them to think seriously about what they want in marriage. Let them not go into any marriage setting with no guidance. They need to be guided and they need to understand what it is that they are walking into. Once they have walked into marriage, I would like to encourage them to stay together. Even if there are difficulties that may seem to be bedeviling their marriage, there is hope.
Very well. Stay in there and solve whatever problems you're having. Thank you so much, Reverend Isaac Soda. He is a family and marriage counselor. We also had Privilege Musvanhiri. He is DW correspondent in Harare, Zimbabwe. Thank you both for your time. The aftermath of divorces is mostly rough, with negative impact on almost everything, from physical and mental health to finances, and the effect on the children, if any. But while counselors like Reverend Soda highly discourage divorce, others insist that when the marriage feels unsafe to the point of causing physical or emotional harm, people should leave. What do you think? Share your thoughts with us on Facebook at DW Africa. Listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe. I am Adwoa Domena. Many thanks for listening.
DW, made for minds.